Hi everyone, I'm Connor and this is my co-host Johnny.
Hey, welcome to our new podcast, Dad Shoes.
Have you ever wondered where a dad joke comes from?
Or how dads just seem to have the right wisdom for the moment?
Are you trying to figure out what your dad was thinking? Maybe you are a dad and you just need to hear,
Hey man, us too.
well, we're learning what it's like to wear the dad shoes.
And we'd like to invite you to join us on that journey. But first things first. Connor, who's our guest?
Our guest is actually our good friend Ryan Gaylord, somebody we've known for a very long time, and we invited Ryan to be on our podcast because he just found out he's going to be a father.
You're gonna be a dad!
Ayo.
Woo. Yep.
So, I just want to say Ryan is probably the person who inspired us to do this. We're not necessarily a podcast, but be content creators.
I thought you meant to be a dad. That inspired you to be a dad.
Man, you know what? I saw Ryan and I just thought, I got to put a baby in my wife.
Oh, man.
That was weird.
That is so weird.
It was like, I got to lock this down because Ryan might steal my lady.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh.
So, Ryan, let me start off. Your wife comes to you and she says, Ryan, you're going to be a dad. Then what? What happens after?
So at first, I honestly thought that she was joking. There's been many occasions where she's joked that we're pregnant. So,
Oh my goodness.
Man, that is
and it wasn't
so
on April Fool's. It happens at random times. So
Every day's April
it could be after dinner. She'll start rubbing her belly, and then she'll say like, "Oh, I'll joke that's food baby," and she's like, "No, it's the real thing." And after a little while, she realizes that it's not gonna fly with me, and realize it's not actually happening. So, no, but this time we were hiking, and we were talking about going to this new location with her family, and she said, "Oh, we're probably going to need to get another car to fit everybody." I said, "No, we should be able to fit everybody in the car." She goes, "No, we have another one that will have to fit in the car." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, well, I'm expecting a baby." And of course I said, "No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not." And she finally showed me a picture of a pregnancy stick, the pee stick, the infamous pee stick. And I was like, "No, this isn't really. Probably just got this from Google." And then I was like, "Wait a second. That's our bathroom sink, and that is my toothbrush. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be a dad."
Stick?
Yeah. That's a good point. The pee stick was next to my toothbrush.
And you're sure she didn't buy the pea stick on eBay?
I bet you can do that. I'll
Dude.
bet there's a store for that.
It's probably like a dark web or black market for used
Dark
pee sticks.
web. Man, I didn't
No, I
know.
think it's just on eBay.
Yeah, man, I didn't realize your wife was so devious.
Yeah, so I think it was about 2 years ago that it was April Fool's, and we were FaceTiming with my wife, family, and she tells her family that she's pregnant. And her mom starts crying, and her sister starts crying because they're so excited. My wife realizes what she's done and has to backtrack. And ever since then, she didn't go quite that far, but she'll still joke every now and then
Oh
that
my gosh.
we're pregnant. So
she's had the what the girls are calling baby fever for a while.
yes, ever since we got married, she's wanted to be a mom. So
Seriously?
yes, yeah, ever since we got married, and that's what she's talked about over and over again. And there's been a few times where we've had some serious conversations about it in the past, and we just weren't ready to pull the trigger and add a
Hey, you pulled the trigger this time.
yeah, jeez. We just weren't ready. Starting new jobs and moving moving into a house, and we just weren't ready to make that move quite yet. I know everyone says that there's never the perfect time to
That's true.
have a kid, but I just felt like our first few years of marriage, we love traveling, we love having the independence, but I've slowly realized that having a child is a huge responsibility and also brings a lot of joy too. So I think we were feeling more comfortable about taking the next step. So
Absolutely.
Is this a planned baby?
I wouldn't say that it was necessarily planned. We weren't trying, if that makes sense.
So, okay, yeah. So you were doing like us. You weren't stopping.
Dude, that's why
Yeah.
both my kids exist.
Exactly.
Me too. Me too. And listen, I don't care what anybody says. You can't get pregnant ever. That's not a possibility. But not yet. She can get pregnant while breastfeeding.
Yes.
That is a thing. We were told you couldn't, and I've been joking that that's why I have a second kid. It's not really the reason, but we were not prepared to have a second kid. That was not the plan.
Good to know. So,
Yes.
Dude, don't scare him. He's only having one kid so far.
I'm not scaring. I'm just preparing.
hey, that rhymes. That's good. I might have to make that into a T-shirt.
Oh, for sure.
Making,
Dude, that could be a dad shoes t-shirt.
I'm not
Oh
scared, I'm just
man,
preparing.
our first merch.
We're not scaring, we're just preparing. You heard it here first.
That means I have to make them, but we'll do. You know a guy.
I do, and I'm back in the town where I know a guy.
All right, so Connor, what about you? What happened when your wife told you were going to be?
Yes, I remember when my wife told me that we were pregnant with our son, who is now 2 years and almost 4 months. We're coming up on. I've been a father, and when my wife told me, she was like, to be really creative. So she made this mug. She won't tell me when she made the mug because that would let me know exactly how far in advance she wanted to have a baby. She made this mug and she wrote, "Congratulations, you're going to be a," on the outside, and then on the inside of the mug at the bottom, she wrote "a great father." And it was a Sunday afternoon. It was about this time, actually. It was around beginning of March that she told me. And she took my Pepsi. I was drinking some Pepsi out of a bottle, and she took my drink and she poured it into the cup, and then she put the cup down, and I'm like, what is she doing? Like, I'm just sitting there watching football. It's a Sunday afternoon. What is she doing? And I read the outside of the cup, and the second I finished the outside of the cup, immediately I knew what she was trying to tell me. Because at the time, like Ryan, we were not trying. A tip that we heard from a friend of ours, the Jage and his wife, the not try method. The only difference is when Jage said they were doing the not try method, they'd been doing it for a couple months. And I'm like, okay.
I think it'd been a year.
Yeah, when I agreed to that, I'm like, okay, I got a couple months. We were not trying for like a month, and we got pregnant very quickly. So,
man,
when I took
the
the
water's
cup,
very fertile in Jacksonville.
Yes.
Oh, I just said where you live.
it's the water in Jacksonville.
you gotta
Yeah.
be careful up there, man, because after we had a baby, it was a dominoes, man. But so I took the cup. I knew immediately what it said, and I did not finish that drink for probably an hour. Like, I just slow drank it because I'm trying to process, man. My wife would say I did not take it well if you asked her. But I remember immediately, once I figured it out, I was sitting on my iPad watching fantasy scores. I closed the fantasy football scores and started looking for a second job because I was like, okay, well, I got to pay for this kid now.
Daggone.
Yeah, it was a shock. And I wouldn't say I regret it, but I do wish I was a little more joyful for my wife's sake because she will not let me forget how well I took the first kid.
Yeah, I mean, was she super joyful? Like, was she like going to the drugstore to get the? Yeah,
she was so happy, and I regret not reciprocating that for her, but I mean I needed to process, so I did not take it well. Now that said, I got on board pretty quickly. Once it happens, it's like, okay, we're game. Here we go. This is what we're doing. I did start substitute teaching on the side to make a little extra money, but we've been good. I mean, you're never truly financially ready to have a baby.
Yeah.
But you just got to do your part, and it's been a good life change for sure. I love being a father.
Yeah, I would say I reacted the same way. I think us as men, we think of things in a more practical and logical manner, and women are more emotional. So at least for me, when I first
Yeah.
heard, I was defaulting to, oh crap, how am I going to provide for this child and my wife? How am I going to lead them? How am I going to be a good role model? And the list goes on and on. While my wife in her head is, she's just like, yay, I'm going to be a mom, and not thinking about all those other things. So,
You know, I was thinking when Connor was talking that it's like they get time to process before they really know. So it's like
Yeah.
when my wife found out, when she told me, I already knew. It was like she had changed. Stuff had changed. Like I could already see physically she was changing. But there were just little things about her personality that were different. And I could tell that something's different. She's got a different attitude. She's got a different... I don't know, it's just getting a different energy from her. And when I came home from work, and she says, actually, I think I saw the pea stick in the trash, or like in the bathroom.
Oh, spoiler.
But yeah, but like I saw, and it's not the first time we did. In fact, I got a friend of mine. We vacationed together, and we're at another friend's 50th birthday party, and my wife isn't drinking at all, and everybody is drinking. And he looks at her and says, "What, are you pregnant?" And she broke down in tears because we didn't know. It was like we were at the point where she might be pregnant. This is a year earlier. So the next day, she and my aunt, a bunch of friends go out and they all get a pregnancy test. They bring it home and do it. So when I saw the test, I was like, okay, sure. We knew that this might be a thing. I've been getting this kind of different vibe. And then when she told me, I was like, oh, so that's for real. Okay. And I didn't look at it. I didn't see what it said. I just saw that it was there. And I think that women get a chance to process it before we do.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife didn't tell me for a few weeks. I mean, she had known, and then she went on a trip out of the country, and she came back, and
Wow. Yeah, that's some
she
time to
waited like a week or
process, for
two.
sure.
Didn't tell me.
Seriously.
But John, your story about drinking reminds me of the episode of The Office where Jam and Pim. Okay, we'll have to edit this part.
Yep.
Nope.
Pam and Jim were getting married, and Jim says, "Let's all raise a glass to the marriage." And we go, "Except for Pam, we all know why she can't." And then but they're trying to keep it a secret because she was pregnant.
Oh man.
Oh, she was. Oh,
Yeah.
see,
Yes.
But they didn't want to tell anybody. But
but they did.
exactly.
They did. So
That's so funny.
So Jim, for sure. I think when my wife got pregnant, she kind of felt it before she took the test. You know, she
Right.
could feel that something was different, and then she took the test, confirmed her suspicions, and then shared with me both times. I will say the second time around for us was also a surprise. We were not quite trying to have kids. Well, let me say that again. We were not quite trying to have a second kid yet. My goal was to get the first one out of diapers before I had to start changing more diapers. That didn't really work out, but I took it a lot better. You know, I took that one a lot better because to me it was like, all right, well, I've already got one. You know, game on. Let's keep.
Wow, I did not.
Let's keep the party rolling. You know.
Wow. No, with the second one, she said it was Siam's first birthday, and it was her birthday that we found out. And my wife had been feeling kind of crummy, and I thought she had a postpartum depression, so she'd gone to the doctor to get these postpartum checks done because she wasn't feeling well. She knew something was wrong, and so I walk in the door, and I'd already talked to her. I talked to her 3 or 4 times after her appointment. She said nothing about it, and I walk in the door, and she says, "She's going to be a big sister." And I looked at her and said, "What? She's going to be a big sister?" And then it clicked. It was like, oh, okay, now I understand what you're talking about. And both of our reaction was, oh, sure. We're not ready for this. We didn't take it well.
Yeah, since we haven't been to the doctor yet, I'm just kind of hoping that they're not like, hey, by the way, you're having triplets. Because I'm not ready for that.
Oh,
twins would be
You'll
great.
You'll find
though.
out later. Do twins run in either of your families?
No.
Or is it just redheads?
Yeah, apparently that's a genetic thing.
Just redheads, yep.
So, Ryan, let me ask you, You have a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings going through, I'm sure. But what are you most worried about right now?
So right now, I think I would say I'm most worried about financially providing for the family. I work in accounting right now, so I work around numbers all the time. So it's just always constantly working or swirling through my head. And knowing my wife will not be working, at least for a period of time, kind of stresses me out just with the lifestyle that we have. Not that it's exorbitant or anything like that, but we live pretty close to our means, and we don't do a lot of crazy things. So knowing that and having her not work just stresses me out a little bit. Just meaning that I'll have to put in some more hours at work or take on a second job for a little bit, if we want to maintain, still sometimes going on a trip or doing nice things for each other. So I would say that's probably what I'm most worried about. It's just financially being able to provide for the family. But like you guys were saying, you're never going to be 100% ready in that aspect to have a kid or two kids or however many. Mm-hmm. So,
I gotta say that, like, the last time we had church, because we're under quarantine, we do this thing where we go pass the mic around and we'll put out our prayer requests, and we just put an offering on this house. And I let everybody know that my biggest fear, as has always, but especially as a father and a husband, is not being able to. And when you have kids, you've already got to put a roof over your head. Now you've got kids, and you've got to make sure they've got a place to live. Like, that's terrible to, like, as a father, to fail in that aspect. And it's just compounded when it's not just, okay, I got to put a roof over their head. No, you've got extra expenses you have to pay for too, and that roof. And surprisingly, I found it easier to save.
Yeah.
I've been making more money in my job anyways. Like, I've gotten a few raises over the years, so I've just been making more money. But having the kid, I set my bank account to put some money away on the first of every month. So once a month it goes away. I don't have to deal with it. And all of a sudden there was money in my bank account that I just never saved before.
Well, I think that this is the good news, right, about having a baby when you think about money. The rent is not going to go up, right?
Right.
You're not going to have to pay more money for that roof. It's the same amount of money you've been paying before.
Exactly.
And if you've got good health insurance, then, like, having the baby and going through that all process in the doctor's office, you'll be fine. Like, the health insurance will help pick up. Both my kids, we had health insurance through the healthcare marketplace. Yes, we do have a bill that we have to pay down, but as long as you're making payments to the hospital, you can pretty much set it at whatever you want. I think with our first son, we paid like $50 a month, until we paid it off, and it's a zero interest loan, if you want to think about it that way. They gave us the bill and they said, you owe however much after it goes through insurance, and then we just made small payments until we could pay it off. In my experience anyway, hospitals will work with you when it comes to paying off medical bills and stuff like that. And in our case, we're hoping this happens the second time around. But the first time around, we paid the lady doctor beforehand, right? We paid for the delivery before it happened, and it was just kind of the way they did things. And then a couple months after my son was born, we got a check in the mail that basically refunded us all that money because our insurance had actually covered that, even though we had prepaid for it. So once the insurance kicked in, we got the money back. So, I mean, that's the good news. There'll be expenses. There'll be extra things, right? You'll have to buy a crib. You'll have to, set aside a nursery and
diapers
and stuff.
You'll have to get wipes, but, good luck.
You work it out, Good luck now.
Just use an old shirt.
It was just so nice for us for a while. I mean, because we've been married 5 years now, so we were I don't know if you heard the phrase, but we've been dinks for 5 years, dueling from no kids.
Yes.
Oh man, dude! Really quick, that reminds me of. Did you ever watch Doug?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, his neighbor was Mr. and Mrs. Dink.
Oh, yes. I get it.
Yes, and he had no kids, and he had the coolest garage.
Wow.
There you go.
Man, that was my favorite show too. I love that show.
Yes, I think just going from that lifestyle of us both working and not having any extra responsibilities of having a child to not only having that income go away, but then having expenses go up. I know that we'll be able to make it work, and it's not like we're gonna be homeless or begging on the streets for food or anything like that. But um, yeah, that's just what I've been worried about. Like you were saying, John, just that extra responsibility of knowing that you have to put a roof over your family's heads and clothes and food and utilities and all that. So
I will say, I mean, you're coming in at a good time. So Connor and I, we've already shared clothes.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna get so many hand-me-downs from us.
And let me tell you what, man, I don't have a boy, so you can have our...
Whether it's a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
there we go.
You can have our gender neutral stuff, but otherwise... And that's the best part about having, well, one, friends who've been through it before, but even friends of friends. Like, my mom has coworkers that have young kids that are slightly older than ours, and we've gotten close from that. That it was just so good.
Yeah, once people find out you have a baby, they will throw things at you for that baby.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, really, it's so good, man. It's just...
Get ready.
And,
really excited.
and listen, the trash pile is going to be your friend.
That's true, man. You find some good stuff out there.
My daughter,
really,
we just threw away a trampoline, and now we've got a playhouse.
yeah, because people get the stuff in their backyard and they got to get rid of it. And
Yep.
it's good stuff. They just don't have kids anymore.
Yep.
Anyway, really quick before we go too far, John, do you have a content recommendation for us today?
Do I ever? So I'm going to try to see if we can get a link to it, to like the YouTube channel or something in the show notes. It's just a song. It's called The Last Saskatchewan Pirate. It's by Angry Worms. They're a Canadian band. Man, I just can't. I love the song, and I found out recently that a lot of the songs that I like, the music that I like, is Canadian. I never would have thought of it before, but for the last
I've said that before on this podcast.
Have I really?
I think so.
I wouldn't doubt it, but it's like I some of this stuff, they've just got a great sense of humor, and it's so funny. But anyways, The Last Saskatchewan Pirate. It's so funny. I'm gonna send a link in the Discord so Ryan can listen to it later. But it's so good.
I think you sent that to us the other night when we were playing.
Yes, I did.
I did not listen to it then. Maybe I'll listen to it this
You
time.
should definitely listen to it.
Anyway, all right. I got another question for Ryan here. Just finding out you're having a baby. Ryan, what are you most excited for about having a baby?
I would say being able to teach my child things, whether it's boy or girl that we're having. Ever since I graduated college, I've just loved teaching classes and doing different workshops. I mentioned I work in accounting, but I also do financial coaching, so helping people on the side with paying off debt and budgeting, saving for retirement, etc. So I love the aspect of educating people. So just being able to sit down with my kids, either with schoolwork or teaching them how to work on the car or how to play an instrument. I'm really excited just to see them learn and progress through those different learning stages, and just being able to share some of the different hobbies that I have with them and teach them so they can use those skills later on in life. That's what I'm most stoked about.
I definitely think that's one of the things I'm most excited for as well. But I want to caution you. Don't rush it. I talked about it last time on the show, that I just want to go do stuff and be active with my kids. And there's stuff they can't do. Like, my daughter's not 2 yet. And I want to go play tennis. But she can't even hit the ball. She can hold the racket, and she can put the ball on the racket and, like, hit it from there. But that's it. That's the extent of her skills. Her motor skills, right? So, just...
So don't take my 2-year-old on the AT on a 50-mile hike.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. No, that's
Unless you
absolutely
want to carry
do it. Yes. Do that.
I was going to have them carry all my stuff. That's what kids are for, right?
It is once they're older.
Eventually.
Kids, not toddlers. Yeah.
So, or don't put my 1-year-old under the car while I'm changing oil.
They will want to help you so bad.
Yeah, dude. And
especially
let them.
After they are 1, like closing in on 2. They
You
will
gotta
see
let
what you're
them.
doing, and they are going to want to help you.
And there's that fine line where if you can get them to be involved and not in your way, it's so good for everybody, because then you get to spend time with your kid and kind of teach them something. But at the same time, you're just doing what you got to do, and kind of an accidental babysitter. But it's like it's that, if you can get that, man, it's so good.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was on our new home that we moved into last year. We're on about like 2 acres.
Oh man!
I finally got a riding mower, and I was sitting on it the other day. Over wintertime, I couldn't use it at all because the grass is barely growing; it's all dead. But I was sitting on it the other day. Now it's springtime, the grass is growing like every 3 days. I got to go out and cut it. And I got like 2 or 3 rows in. I'm like, man, how fun would it be to have just like my little son or my little daughter either sit on my lap, or a little tractor bed in the back that I can sit them in while I'm mowing the lawn, and just share that time with them. So it's cool that you mentioned that. It'd be nice to have them not in the way, but they're able to experience those things that I'm doing too.
Make sure, not that this is imminent and like upon us now, but be aware that when you're doing things that are loud with the kids, they've got to have ear protection.
Oh yeah, I wear ear protection when I'm on those mowers. Okay. It's so loud.
Yeah, because I don't know, the people that are in charge of kids, I don't know what they're called. They recommend no, not parents. No, the governmental organization. They recommend that your kids, that children, are not exposed to over 90 decibels of sound. So I have a Harley, which is loud, and it's probably louder than that. I'll measure it later, and I'll
especially
update
in the garage if you start it.
Yeah, but like
the funny thing is, I know that you will measure it. So.
I've got a decibel meter on my phone. I will probably tomorrow when I crank it out. But my daughter doesn't have any issues. Well, CM doesn't have any issues with the sound. I would, pressure wash the driveway. My wife would come out with her, and the pressure washer is running, and she doesn't care. I crank up the bike because I ride it as often as I can, and now I have to ride it all the time. Well, not now, because now we're in quarantine, so my wife's not going anywhere, so we have to take the car. But last month, I had to ride my bike everywhere because I didn't have a car. So I crank it up. Doesn't wake her up. She's fine. Doesn't bother her at all. When I come home, she tries to open the door so she can run out to greet me.
They're very loud.
Yeah, it's fun though. Like trying to teach your kid new things,
mm-hmm.
and just seeing your kids master a new skill.
Because they're a lot smarter than you would think.
They certainly are. My wife used to work like in the preschool world. And that was before we had kids. And when she came home after the first couple months of working in this preschool, she was just amazed at what 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds are able to accomplish after working in a preschool. Like, not necessarily a daycare where they just kind of go and hang out, but this is a school where they try and teach them things.
Mm-hmm.
And just the things that stick in their head. I mean, we probably let our son watch too much TV, but the reason he's 2 years old and he can count to 20 and he knows his ABCs is because he watched Sesame Street, and when you see them just sitting there and all of a sudden he just starts counting, like you see him start counting things and you see your kids start doing things you didn't know they can do. It's pretty magical, pretty amazing.
It really is. That's really the best. Speaking of magical and amazing, Connor, do you have a content recommendation?
I do have a content recommendation, and it's one that you said I shouldn't give because it's the meme right now, but I'm going to give it. Gosh darn it. I love it, and my wife loves it. We have been playing, in this time of quarantine, a game called Animal Crossing.
You don't say.
Yeah, for sure. But here's the thing. Look, I've been playing like Animal Crossing since the beginning.
Aren't you a hipster?
I know. I don't want to say before it was cool, because the second it came out it was cool, but all the way back on GameCube, I had just have fond memories of running around and playing this game. This was like Minecraft before Minecraft was a thing, and the point of the game is literally nothing. Like, no, this game's been around for a long time.
Wow. I remember hearing about it. Like you talked about it a bunch, but it was like just kind of always there. I didn't.
No, this was a very like anticipated game when the Switch was first announced. And it's fun. And honestly, it's a game about nothing, if I'm being honest. You live in a town, you try and make money, you try and pay off your mortgage,
oh my gosh.
You buy stuff, you decorate your
You
house.
have a mortgage in Animal Crossing?
Dude, you do have a mortgage. My mortgage is $198,000.
A month or total?
No, total. Like,
A
it's how much I have
month?
to pay.
What is he living in? Like a $50, $100,000, $1 million?
Look, I don't know. If you have a $200,000 a month mortgage, holy crap! I want your job. Maybe I don't want your job.
Math on that.
No, that's the total. This is like the renovation. But the cool thing is you pay off this mortgage by digging up fossils and catching bugs in a net and going fishing. And you just take care of this town. It's just a really relaxing game. If you can't play Animal Crossing right now, just go on like Twitch, go on YouTube, like
watch other people play life.
It's relaxing. It's just relaxing and chill. So that's my content rec.
I will do that just
week.
because you recommended it.
Dude,
I'm on TwitchTube.
Yes,
and
I've literally been thinking about, and I don't know if I'm going to keep this in the recording. I've been thinking about, because I'm a youth director, and we just have to create ways to interact with people so we can continue to do ministry. I've thought about streaming myself playing Animal Crossing so the students can watch and like just answering their questions about life and God and stuff like that in the Bible. Like have them message me a question and I'll just sit there, while I'm planting my trees and my flowers and saying, well, you know what? This is how I know that Jesus loves you so, because the Bible told me so.
That's first of all hilarious, and second of all, there's three things to this. That's a great way to get paid to play Animal Crossing.
Oh, I know.
And also, that might actually work.
Bro, I'm telling you, I've really thought about it, and we'll see. I might be doing it next week.
Look, the worst thing you can do is try it and it doesn't work.
That's true.
So what? Okay,
I would feel a little weird being a 30-year-old man sending a link to my video stream to a bunch of high schoolers and middle schoolers, though. That's the part that hooks me up,
Well, then don't send it to them. Put it in like the group server or the group chat, or like if you have a Facebook page that's just for the youth group, put it in the youth group Facebook page, and that way they can see it. They've got access to it, but it's not like, hey Timmy, you want to come watch me play video games? Yeah.
You want to watch me play Animal Crossing?
I'll
pay
play
my mortgage?
Yeah. It's not creepy then.
It just sounds so depressing that there's a video game where
you pay a mortgage.
Pay off your mortgage.
It's like The Sims, man. Like you're playing.
Do you have to pay taxes? Is there like Animal Crossing tax that you pay?
There's no tax, but if you put money in the bank, you can get interest.
Okay, that's awesome. So once you pay off your mortgage, then you live in a house for free, which would be awesome.
That's true. You can live in your house for free, or you can go talk to the raccoon, and he will give you a bigger house for another mortgage.
I don't want. Will he buy my house for what I just paid for it?
No, it's like an expansion. Like you stay in the same house, it just gets bigger.
Oh, does my land get bigger? Am I going to absorb my neighbor's house?
No.
I mean, if you've got 2 acres, and
the whole town, like you can do whatever you want in this whole island. Like you can put a bench anywhere you want. Anyway, I've got another question for Ryan. Unless you have a question for Ryan, I don't want to have all the questions, but I will.
Listen, you're a very inquisitive soul, so
I like to think so. So Ryan, you're getting ready to have your first child, and I'm just going to tell you now, you're going to hear a lot about how people think you should raise that child. People are going to give you advice you really don't want to hear. But I want to know, what is one thing like that you really want to stick to with having this baby? Like is it screen time? Do you want to not have any screen time? Do you want to keep phones away? Do you want to potty train them by 1.5? What are you thinking? What is something you want to stick to as a rule as you raise this child?
I think one thing that my wife and I have done in the past, or that we currently do, that we hope to keep even with adding a child to the mix, is having dinner together, even with a baby, and adding that craziness into the mix. Always sitting down and having a meal together without the TV on, without our phones in front of us, and just being able to talk about each other's days and seeing how we're doing. And then as our kid gets older, being able to talk with them. I feel like a lot of families have lost that, especially with having phones now, and so many kids have so much homework to do when they get home, that tradition of just sitting down at the dinner table, pausing, and just being able to talk with each other, I think is super important. So we're hoping to keep that as a tradition and something that we do every day.
Yeah, dude, that's good.
I agree. Let me ask you, Connor, when it's dinner time, and I know things are different now, but generally speaking, when it's dinner time, what do y'all do?
It is different. It is different for sure, because we are now living with my mother. I got a new job, and we're living back in our hometown, especially now that we're quarantined and I'm home all day.
Right.
So things are different, but we really do try to make a point of sitting at the table. And that was something my wife and I talked about beforehand as well. So this is like an encouragement and a forewarning, Ryan, that it does get tough to make that happen. And I'll get a little bit into that after this, but we do try to all sit down at the table, especially making sure the kids sit at the table. We all sit for dinner for sure. Like, we come together and we'll have a meal together. But this also goes into like getting my son to eat things. He has recently become a very picky eater. And so what we try to do to encourage him to try new things and to eat food is to make sure that he's sitting with us at the table, eating the food that we are eating. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes it gets tough, and he is still a picky eater, and we are really trying to work with him on that. But what makes it hard is, and it's kind of my own fault, because sometimes I plan these really complicated meals that I want to make because I enjoy cooking. But my kids just can't wait. They cannot wait for me to cook this food. So they go to the table first and they get to eat. So that happens sometimes. But we do try to make a point of sitting down together just for the practice of it.
Yeah, and I get that there's probably going to be times where we won't be able to, but I feel like if we're trying to be intentional about it on a weekly basis, that it'll happen more often than if we weren't trying to be intentional with it.
That's been one of our struggles, and I think that a lot... I got two thoughts on this. On one hand, a lot of this stuff doesn't click until they're... Like, when you sit down and eat, you sit at the table and you eat dinner. When you get up, you're done. But they've got to have, like, if all of a sudden she's 5 and we're saying, okay, no, now we sit down and eat at the table. Well, what about the other 4 years of it? So
yeah, you gotta have grace, and that's just general parenting advice. Is you gotta have grace for your kids, grace for yourself. I will say, there's a couple tools that we do use sometimes to try and get Titus to focus. Like, a lot of times we do have the TV on because it's kind of a distraction from what he's eating, right? So
right.
He's looking at TV. He's not paying attention to the fact that he just ate a whole bowl of raspberries, like a whole bowl of fruit, and we really wanted him to do that. So sometimes, use the tools at hand. And I do know, we have the same problem sometimes where he wants to get up and run around.
Right.
And the thing is, I know he can sit at the table quietly,
eat
food without. I know he can do it
because he's done it.
He's done it, and he does it at preschool every day that he goes. Now he's at home because
it was only a month ago, or it was only 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
But he did it. He did it every day, and they never said he had a problem with it. Whenever I would go pick him up, it was during snack time, and he was sitting in his chair, eating his food, talking with his friends, and it was great. So I know he can do it. And preschool teachers are wizards. Like, just really, they are.
They have a wand somewhere.
They've got some kind of information on my kid that he does not want me to know. I don't know. They are amazing with kids. So, Ryan, we want to give you a chance to ask any questions or anything you want to ask to mildly experienced dads.
Yes. So I have. This is a 2-part question.
Let's hear it.
The first part of the question, or the first question is, what has brought you the most joy as being a father so far? And then the second question is, what is the best position to hold your child in while you change their diaper?
Oh, all right. All right.
Those aren't really two parts. Those are like two questions.
Those are two totally different questions.
I know.
But very important.
Well, maybe changing the diaper brings you joy, and then you say by doing it this way brings you.
I don't think
More
changing
joy.
a diaper
So,
has
Connor,
brought
you-
me joy, but
You know what? I put on a diaper tonight that actually did bring me joy.
Like you
My-
put a diaper, like you're wearing a diaper right now? Or...
Yes, and I am so joyful. I haven't had a poop in a
anyway,
No.
John,
Um,
you take this one first.
All right, two things. I think we should both answer both.
Yeah, for sure.
First, changing a diaper, just get them on the mat. Don't you need to get a changing mat, or you need to get an area to change the kid. This is where you change your diaper. Our daycare does it on the floor. So when we would see him at home, she didn't want to be changed on the table. So you put her on the table, and she started to fight. And this is for, almost a year. She would just fight you because she didn't want to be changed on the table. But if you grabbed a diaper and sat down on the floor, she would sit down in front of you and change your diaper. Not to say changing a diaper on the floor is fun, because it's much better on the table.
Man, the table's so much easier.
It's at my height.
Yes.
This is what it's designed for. And yeah,
Anyway.
So yeah, do that. Just put them on the back. Get them used to being changed. That's fine. The trick to changing the diaper is it's a little bit different with cloth versus disposable and boys versus girls, but make sure you're like they're done.
Yes.
Because the worst thing in the world is to change a diaper, pick up the kid, and then they poop in the new diaper. It's like, oh, are you kidding me?
Oh,
or
that sounds awful.
they get you before you're done
Yeah.
wrapping.
Exactly. I mean, oh, come
Boys
on.
are worse
Like,
about
this is
that
a new diaper.
in my experience than girls are, though.
Do you have a PPTP?
No, dude, this...
They did.
No. I saw those. I saw the PPTP. And for those of you who don't know, it's a little cloth you put over the peep when you're changing the diaper so you don't get any shots off. And we mentioned that to my at my last church. We were talking with the pastor about it, and he's like, oh, he's got 2 boys. And we brought that up, and he's like, dude, don't get that. It just turns into a projectile. Like, it just shoots right off. Don't even worry. So yeah, that's some good advice right there. Don't buy the PPTP.
This podcast is not sponsored by
No,
PPTP.
please don't.
Or do, but this is what we're going to talk about.
Well, let me give my diaper answer while we're on the topic.
Yes.
I love the table. I will drag my son to the table. I think the best position, you got to get them on their back. Once they get older, they want to stand up, and you got to work with them. What is going to be the easiest to get this tool wrapped up? I think the real key is distraction.
Yes.
If you can get something to distract them while you're doing it. My daughter is almost 8 months old. She is a master crawler and roller, and she will just bail on you mid-diaper change.
Yeah, so you've got to make sure
before
you've got a
you-
hand on the kid.
You got to make sure you keep a hand on him. Absolutely.
Buckles are great, but a hand is better.
Yeah. But she will roll mid-diaper change, and it is a
Oh,
struggle
no.
to keep her on her back because she just wants to. She
Yeah.
doesn't know. She's 8 months old. She doesn't know she's getting a diaper change. Like, just that doesn't even occur to her. So she just wants to get out of there. She's like, oh, cool. So you got to give her a toy, give her some kind of distraction. So that's my diaper change philosophy.
And I got to tell you, sorry, so for the what brings me the most joy, there is not one thing. You could sum everything up into seeing my daughter smile, but I've got 2 kids now, and they're different. And seeing both of them smile is very joyful. It makes me happy to see both of them happy. And that, I've always been that way. Like, I'm happy when the people I care about are happy. But that's it. Being able to play with my kids is just... When CM wants to play with me, it's just the best part of life.
Yeah. I can second that. I think for most joyful is as your kids develop and grow and become attached to you. Like, we're playing in the backyard today, and my son will come get me, and he's like, Daddy, come look at this. Like, Daddy, come look at these lizards. Like, let's go look.
Yeah.
My son is also terrified of lizards, by the way. Like, seriously, we see him in the backyard, and he will scream the highest pitched scream we've ever heard and run across the yard when he sees a lizard. But then he's like, Daddy, let's go look at lizards.
That's so funny.
But I'll sum it up in this. The most joyful thing about being a parent is my son is 2 years old. He's really starting to put sentences and you can almost have a conversation with him.
Right.
And sometimes we'll just be hanging out and doing something, and I'll just say, hey man, hey, love you buddy, and he will respond with, love you daddy. And it's like, oh my gosh,
that's a heart melt right there.
Yeah, dude. With, like, you say it and you don't expect it because you're like, you probably don't know what I'm saying, and then he responds with, love you daddy. It's like, oh wow, right in the feels.
Man, yeah, really.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, so Connor, what's your if you've got one piece of dad advice? We're dads, so we have to use portmanteaus.
Wow, I never even knew what that word meant.
Yes, that's what it means.
I've never heard that word before. It sounds nautical.
It does sound nautical. Well, that's because of Passepartout was the supporting character in Around the World in 80 Days.
That's exactly why.
Which is actually, that is where Passport comes from. Because I can't remember the main character's name. He hired Passepartout to be his manservant to travel around the world in 80 days, and he was the one that secured all of the paperwork and whatnot. So that's why your passport is called a passport. Little bit of dad trivia for you. But we're dads now, so we have to use portmanteaus. So, Connor, what is your best dad advice?
My best advice for any parent, when I think about it, parenting is honestly, parenting is easy. It really is. Parenting is easy. What's difficult is when you try and parent and do something else at the same time. And what I mean by that, and I'm not trying to say that like stay-at-home parents have it really easy. It's difficult because it's not often you get to just parent your child. It's easier when you only have one, because one person can be doing, the things in life that have to happen, and then you can be working with your child. But I know when my son gets really difficult, if I just give him my undivided attention and I just pay attention to him and let him lead, my life gets a lot easier. Same thing with my daughter. When I give my undivided attention to my kids, it's a joy. But it's difficult to do that sometimes. So that's my advice. Parenting is easy. Just find ways to designate that time. When you're shoot, I just threw my phone basically. When you are paying attention to your kid, make sure you're paying attention to your kid. Does that make sense? Did I have to go back?
I completely agree. I'm not sure that I would give this. I hate the meme of put your phone down and pay attention, because sometimes what I'm doing on my phone is important. For us, we're trying to buy a new home, but we've got to find a home. I'm behind the wheel of a vehicle a lot of my time, and then when I'm not behind the wheel, I'm working. I'm physically using my hands to work. So I can't be taking a few minutes here and there to look at houses and take care of mortgage stuff and some of the stuff I need to do when I get home. That's the only time I have. I don't want to just say, hey, put your phone down and ignore the rest of the world and just be with your kid. If you can do that, that is what brings you the most joy.
Ooh, bringing it back.
Yeah, really, it really does. Because when my kid is happy, I'm happy. And she is so much fun. Unless she's just being a little brat, then somebody else take her, please. But normally, if you take the time and no, mommy's doing something else, you need to. You have my attention. What can I help you with? And that's
That's the problem, is paying attention to your child in parenting is so easy, but you also have to do the dishes, and you also have to pay the bills, and you also have to have a job. You also have to take care of the house or prepare lunch. There's so many things that you've got to do other things.
And I got to tell you, we've been blessed because my daughter doesn't. She's not needy. She wants our attention, but we can go outside in the backyard and put a ball down, and that kid will play for 45 minutes by herself, just doing her own thing. And it's great. I mean, it's great because she can do that and I can do what I need to do. But, I think that's good for her development. She's independent. She doesn't need me to stimulate her. She can enjoy life on her own. But then at the same time, she'll come over and say, Daddy, 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 come, Daddy, come. And that's, oh man, that melts your heart.
Well, before we wrap it up, we got to give our guest a chance to share his content, Rick. So, Ryan, what are you watching right now?
Dude, I am watching, along with the rest of America that's quarantined right now, I'm watching Tiger King. And boy, if you're looking for drama, murder, animals, and guns, and anything you could think of, it is in this show.
Yes.
Like, basically, if you took, like, People of Walmart, CSI,
what?
And, like, Animal Planet, and combined all those together, that would be the show.
Oh, does not compute.
Dude,
not compute.
You gotta watch it. And one of my favorite reactions to this show I've seen is people saying, like, watching people react to Tiger King reminds me that not everybody grew up in Florida.
That is very true.
Is it based in Florida?
A lot of it does take place in Florida. It's like Florida and Oklahoma and...
What's it? Florida Man? Is it Florida Man the TV show?
Well, no, this one is Florida Woman, but I mean, this dude is Florida Man.
The main guy, he did most of his training at Lion Country Safari.
Yes.
Before he opened up his own place. So
I'm 4 episodes in, and I got my wife to watch an episode with me last night. I don't think she's going to come back and watch the rest. But she was hooked. Like, when you just see what web these people are weaving. When I first heard about this show, I thought it was like, a TV show, like scripted. And nope, this is a documentary.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you're not watching
it's like Honey Boo Boo meets Steve Irwin.
Look, you've just lost me.
Ryan, you are so accurately describing this show. I love it.
That is so terrible. I love Steve Irwin. But it's like,
gosh.
You've got grade A television, and then you've got dumpster slot. How do you meet that in the middle?
Ryan, you need to write Netflix and write their advertising department and give them all of those descriptions, because that is perfect. That is exactly what this show is. Every single one you said, spot
Honey
on.
Boo Boo meets Steve Irwin and
yes.
People of Walmart and CSI.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is the perfect explanation of what this show is. Oh my goodness.
It sounds bad.
Just good stuff. Dude, you got to give it a chance.
You got to try it. Now watch. John's going to watch it and he's going to be like, "This is."
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
That's been our relationship forever.
I find something and I'm like, "Dude, John's going to love this," and then I send it to him and he's like, and I was so excited to share.
Yeah, then you can send him a video of a hamster eating popcorn. He's like, "This is the best thing ever!"
And then he won't stop talking about chimpanzee riding on a Segway for a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't I just send that in a video, or in a text to you guys last year? In November. Chimpanzee riding.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Any last words? Anyone? Any last comments? Ryan, anything else you want to say before you're published?
No, this has just been awesome. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on here and get some advice from you guys and laugh, and hope to do this again soon.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much for putting up and participating with us tonight. It was just a pleasure to reach out. Congratulations to you and your family. Many blessings. We'll be praying for you throughout this whole thing.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Dude, I'm so stoked.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. on Dad's Shoes. We'd really appreciate it if you would share it with your friends. Help us get the word out. If you enjoyed our podcast, you can reach out to us on Twitter at dadshoespod or email us at dadshoespod@gmail.com. What dad topics do you want to hear more about? We would love to hear from you. We'd also appreciate it if you'd leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks again for hanging out.
See ya.
Peace.